10,000 subscribers! Can you believe it? This is so awesome. I'm honestly, truly blessed. I don't know, it's still a real shock to me. A real shock to me. Thank you guys so much for the love and support. I really appreciate it. Let's get started. You guys ready to see my wish history? Is this something you guys are actually excited for? I know I've been getting a lot of comments and stuff on my videos. People are asking me to show my wishes, show everything that I've been doing. Let's pull this up, boys. Let's pull this up. But let me show this website off. This is Paimon.moe. You can basically come to this site and you can connect your Google Drive to the website, and it will store your wishes to your Google Drive account on the website. And it keeps track of all your wishes. As you can see here, all of my wishes are stored here. This is literally since 1.5. We've stored all of our wishes in here. You can see the amount of wishes I have. Guys, this is crazy. Another preface here, guys. You don't need to spend money in this game. Do not do this. Do not follow my example. Please, I beg you, don't do this. This is not good. This is not good. But we have spent 1.7 million Primo Gems on the character banner, and we've spent almost 1 million Primo Gems on the weapon banner. Do the responsible thing and do not follow my actions here. Okay, guys? Okay? I'm looking at you guys square in the face. Promise me you will spend your money responsibly and do the right thing. When you become a zaddy like me, then you can spend some of your money on some characters and stuff, but you're not there yet. You're not there yet. Go to college, get a degree. I made a spreadsheet of all of the banners and what characters and weapons are on them. I figured we'd just go through patch by patch. We'll kind of cover each patch and say, hey, these are the heroes that are out. These are the weapons that are out. This is what I decided to do. This was my reasoning for doing it. I think that's a good way to approach it. Okay, starting back at 1.0. Like I said, I was only free to play mostly. I was spending on Welkin here and there, spending on Battle Pass here and there, but it was mostly free to play. I was not super invested in the collection aspect, so I wasn't recording my wishes at that time. I don't even know if this was available during that time. Like, the game was brand new. This whole wishing history recording thing, I don't even think it was a thing at that time. Oh my God, these banners were freaking wild at the time. The first weapon banner in 1.0 was Amos Bow, Aquila Favonia in the first half, Lost Prayer, and Wolf's Gravestone in the second half. Can you believe those banners? That's such a cringe banner looking back. At the time, it was insane. Like, people wanted these weapons, but like, they were so bad at the time. 1.1, we had Skyward Harp and Memory of Dust on the first banner, and then we had Vortex Vanquisher and the Unforged on the second half. Like, holy shit, guys. Holy shit, those are such cringe banners. Like, I can't even believe how bad those weapon banners were. This, you guys will get a kick out of. 1.2 weapon banner, first half, Summit Shaper and Skyward Atlas. Oh my God, could you imagine? I was playing during 1.2. Skyward Atlas was actually featured as a weapon on the weapon banner in 1.2. Could you imagine if I had actually gotten a copy of Skyward Atlas when it was featured on the banner? I can't believe it. When I looked back on that, I was like, holy shit, how is Skyward Atlas on the 1.2 banner? No, I missed it. For anyone who doesn't know, it's the only weapon in the game that I do not have. I don't have Skyward Atlas still to this day. I've done almost 1 million Primo Gems worth of wishes on the weapon banner. I have still not gotten a Skyward Atlas. And it was featured in 1.2. 1.0 was Venti and Klee. We got our first copy of Klee. 1.1 was Childe and Zhongli. We got our first copy of Zhongli at C0. And then we skipped Albedo and Ganyu in 1.2. We skipped Zhao, Keqing, and Hu Tao. Remember when Keqing was in 1.3 on the banner? A standard banner character on the banner? Absolutely insane. We skipped Zhao, Keqing, and Hu Tao. We skipped Hu Tao, which is crazy. And then we also skipped Venti and Childe's reruns in 1.4. I just wasn't huge on Venti and Childe at the time. And I was not wishing on the weapon banner at all during any of these patches. I completely ignored the weapon banner because at the time everyone was saying the weapon banner is a scam. Don't wish on it. You don't need the weapons. Just wish for characters. That was kind of the mentality at the time. 1.5 came along, and guess who was on the banner in 1.5? My girl, Eula. When Eula came out, my gay heart was so in love with everything about Eula. I just loved her aesthetic. I loved that she was cryo, was kind of really super into cryo. And since we didn't wish in 1.3, we didn't wish in 1.4, we didn't wish in 1.2, we had to get Eula. So we grabbed Eula in 1.5. We lost our 50-50 to Diluc, unfortunately. It took about 150 wishes, but we pulled for Eula. We got her in 157 wishes, it looks like. I still wasn't pulling on the weapon banner at that time, so we didn't go for Song of Broken Pines. The thing that really pushed me over the edge for Eula, too, was I don't have this recorded because it was prior to 1.5, but we got a Wolf's Gravestone on the standard banner. Because we got a Wolf's Gravestone on the standard banner, it made everything come together even more. I was like, oh shit, I have Wolf's Gravestone. Eula is a DPS Claymore character who can use Wolf's Gravestone. We're all in on Eula. She's beautiful. She's cryo. She's a goddess. Like, we're going all in on Eula. We also got our C1 for Zhongli. So that's where the list starts. This is a really interesting choice. I don't exactly know why I did this, but we pulled for C1 Zhongli. We got him in 73 wishes, and we did not lose the 50-50. I don't know what my thought process was here. Like, why am I pulling for C1 Zhongli when I should be pulling for more characters? You know what? They did buff him, I think. I think this is the period where they buffed him and made him stronger, and they gave Geo, like, a huge buff, and they buffed Zhongli specifically. And I think I saw that, and I was like, oh shit, I want that second pillar, because C1 gives him the second pillar, right? So I think that was my thought process behind C1 Zhongli. 1.6 was Klee and Kazuha. Obviously, I didn't really care about Klee that much. And, wait, no. Was 1.6 Kazuha? Yeah, it was Kazuha. We got Kazuha before Inazuma came out. That seems weird to me, but yeah, it was that way. That's what it was. We got Klee, and then we got Kazuha as like an Inazuma sneak peek, basically. Do you guys remember? This is crazy. At the time of Kazuha's release, everyone was saying he was redundant and pointless. Do you guys remember that? Is anyone here from that time remember that? So, like, everyone was like, no, Kazuha's garbage. Like, not garbage, but, like, he's not needed. If you have Sucrose, just skip him. You don't need him. He doesn't do anything original. He's not that strong. Dude, crazy times. Can you even imagine a world where Kazuha isn't, like, triple S tier? Like, it's actually kind of insane. Despite all of that, we did not skip Kazuha. We got Kazuha in 77 wishes. We won the 50-50. We ignored all of the bullshit, and we actually pulled for Kazuha. 2.0. 2.0, we had Ayaka and Yoimiya. We did pull for Ayaka. We did pull for Yoimiya. Looks like in about 200 wishes, we got both of them, losing the 50-50 once to Jean on Ayaka, but we did not lose the 50-50 on Yoimiya. But I think this is 2.0 is when I kind of started dipping my toes. And I know that because Raiden's about to come up, and I know Raiden is when I went full frickin' bore on spending. When Raiden came out, I went full bore. The gambling addiction was creeping in. I was slowly starting to think okay, we can spend a little bit here and there. The other mobile game I was playing, I was starting to not like it as much. It was just a completely different game from Genshin. It was very competitive. It was PvP focused. The game, if you're interested, is called Idle Heroes. I was one of the top players in this mobile game called Idle Heroes. The Idle Heroes era of my mobile game spending was problematic. It's basically a game where you collect heroes and they battle each other, and there's PvP, there's PvE, and the power creep in that game is off the charts. If you're not spending every time a new thing comes out, you will fall behind and you will lose all of your progress in that game. You will become dumpster tier if you're not following the meta, spending all the time. Your characters will become trash tier because of the power creep. And I think that's what attracted me so much to Genshin, because I was like, Genshin isn't like that. Genshin is not a power creep game. Maybe the characters get a little bit better over time. Maybe the weapons are slowly power creeping, but the game isn't releasing game modes that make the characters obsolete. Once you level a character in Genshin to level 90, you get its weapon to R5, you C6 it, you get their weapon to level 90, you level all their talents to level 90. That character is done. You don't have to, aside for artifacts, you don't have to spend on that character anymore. And that was so different from all of the other mobile games I had been playing in the past and spending money on. Because all those other games, if you didn't constantly spend on the newest and greatest toy, the newest hero, the newest weapon, the newest artifact, whatever it is, you would fall behind and you would lose all of the progress that you had made. So it was very like Skinner box in a way, where you just had to keep spending to keep your progress. But Genshin is nice. It's not like that. If you stop spending in Genshin, it doesn't matter. You can stop spending anytime you want, and your account will stay the same. Your heroes will stay the same power. The Abyss, the Abyss is getting harder over time, but like you can still complete it with all of your best characters, even from 2 years ago, as long as you've invested in them. My Eula that I've invested in 2 years ago can still beat it. It's still fine, It's not like the Abyss is getting so hard that she can't even like touch it. So that, I think, was my thought process at that time. I was like, man, Genshin is just a better game to spend on. You collect the characters, they don't get power crept. It just feels a lot better to spend in Genshin. So at that time, I was like, this other game, Idle Heroes, I'm done with it. I don't want to play it anymore. I'm tired of like keeping up and trying to be spending to keep my top ranks in that game. And I was like, I'm full in on Genshin. I'm going to collect the characters. I'm going to collect the weapons. And I wasn't spending a crazy amount like I am now, but this is when I started dipping my toes. All right, we had Ayaka, Yoimiya, and we finally started pulling on the weapon banner. We got Thundering Pulse for 38 wishes, which is honestly kind of crazy if you think about it. My first weapon banner pull, I got 38 wishes for Thundering Pulse. That's honestly absolutely insane. Okay, this is when I started going a little bit off the rails. I started going a little bit off the rails in 2.1. Raiden came out. Guys, Raiden fucking Shogun. When I watched the character demo for Raiden Shogun, my God, that was like the coolest thing I had ever seen. I was blown away. She just looked so goddamn amazing. The way Hoyo did her character demo like literally stirred up feelings in me. We were all in on Raiden. Plus, Eula was our main at the time, and Raiden was such an incredible support for Eula. I was like, I have to get Raiden. She helps with superconduct for Eula. She helps boost Eula's burst with her burst. Like she gives Eula energy for her burst so she can burst more often. I was like, Raiden is perfect for Eula. I have to get Raiden. So basically what we did is we were deciding to finally start spending. I was like, sure, let's get C2 Raiden. Her best constellation is C2. It's basically like a C6. Like it's so damn good. We decided we had to go for it, right? And this is also when I finally started my collectionist mentality, which I think happened with Ayaka and Yoimiya a little more in patch 2.0. But we were finally like, okay, let's just collect at least one of every 5-star character and one of every 5-star weapon. Let's just collect one and we'll just try to like collect them all. Nothing super crazy like how I collect things now. But I was like, let's just get every character. Let's just get one of every weapon. No big deal. Perfectly fine. So Raiden, we go for C2. We lose every 50-50 on C2 Raiden. We lose to Jean. We lose to Mona. We lose to Kaching. And it took us 352 wishes to get to C2 Raiden. Oh my God, that's honestly trash tier. After Raiden, I picked up a Kokomi copy, and we won the 50-50 on that one at least. We got 78 on Kokomi, which was great. I guess it's still a lot of wishes, but we got Kokomi as well, so Kokomi C0. You can see my Engulfing Lightning wishes weren't that great either. What I was trying to do on this banner, it was Engulfing Lightning and the Unforged, and I wanted to get a copy of the Unforged because I was starting to collect the weapons. So you can see what happened was I lost to Lost Prayer, 68 wishes on Lost Prayer, and then we got our first Engulfing Lightning and 38 wishes. Then we got our second Engulfing Lightning on 37 wishes. We lost to Skyward Pride for 67, and then we got our third Engulfing Lightning for 65. And then we finally got Unforged for 69 wishes. Nice, 69, I know. We were trying to get the Unforged, so I don't think I even wanted to R3 Engulfing Lightning at that point. I was just trying to get the Unforged. Unfortunately or fortunately, it's hard to say for sure which is which, but we got 3 copies of Engulfing Lightning before getting to Unforged, so that was kind of cringe. I don't know exactly what I was thinking there, but I just knew I wanted a copy of the Unforged because I was finally starting to collect every weapon, and I just knew that I wanted it. Yeah, we're just built different, guys. I don't know what to say. It definitely encouraged me to later get C6R5 Raiden because I was like, shit, I only need 2 more Engulfing Lightnings and 4 more Raiden. So like the next time Raiden reruns, sure, might as well do it, right? Might as well do it. This was 2.2 was Child and Hu Tao. I mean, we knew we wanted to pick up our first copy of Child, right? So we did that. We got Child. We lost the 50-50. We got Child in like 150 wishes. Hu Tao, I actually kind of wanted some constellations for. So Hu Tao, we kind of went all in and we finally got Hu Tao. So you can see we got Hu Tao won the 50-50 in 80 wishes. Hu Tao won the 50-50 in 74 wishes. Hu Tao won the 50-50 in 77 wishes. So we got C2 Hu Tao in about 200 wishes. On the weapon banner, I literally just wanted Polar Star. I wanted 1 copy of Polar Star. I wanted 1 copy of Memory Dust, so we got those both out of the way. And then we wanted Staff of Homa, obviously. We actually wished for 2 Staff of Homas at this time because I wanted 1 for Hu Tao and I wanted a separate one for Zhongli. Is that crazy? Yes, that's probably crazy of me to think that at the time, but we did it anyways. And the wishes did not go that great. You can see the first half of 2.2 was Polar Star and Memory of Dust, and the second half was Elegy and Staff of Homa. We got 2 Elegies before we got Staff of Homa, and then we got an Elegy and a Skyward Blade before we got our second Staff of Homa. That wasn't super great. The nice thing, though, is this is our best 5-star pull ever. We got Elegy in 1 pull, guys. We actually got Elegy in 1 freaking pull. To this day, we still have never done that. We've never gotten a 5-star in 1 pity. It's never happened. On the character banner, on the weapon banner, I have never gotten another 5-star pull in 1 pull. All right, now we're getting into some crazy shit, guys. This is when we truly go off the rails here. We went super freaking insane on Eula. 2.3 was Eula, Albedo, and Itto. But again, my thought process at the time for this, I think I was like, well, I really like Eula. Like, can we just have 1 C6R5 character? Like, can't we just have 1? Like, would it really hurt to just spend to get 1 C6R5 character? Like, I can't see the harm in that, right? It's not a big deal. Like, we maybe like once a year I can treat myself to a C6R5 5-star character. No big deal, right? We'll just dip our toes in a little bit. We'll spend $1,000. I think I spent like $1,500 on this C6R5 Eula. Let's just do it one time. We'll have 1 really strong, powerful character that we can play with and do like the maximum damage she can do and show off the maximum damage. So we went all in. We went all in on Eula. And honestly, these pulls went, let me tell you, these pulls went so fucking fantastic. This is actually when I started making YouTube content. And if you want to go back and see these pulls, I'm just a little baby content creator, so the video quality is not nearly as good as the content that I make now. Not that the content I make now is like super stellar or anything either, but like you can see the growth. You can see the growth. We still have a long way to grow, but honestly, you can see the growth. Like this video is kind of when I started posting my wishes online on this channel that we now have 10,000 subscribers on, by the way. Holy shit. So if you want to go see those wishes, they're honestly absolutely insane. You can see right here how insane they are. Eula, we pulled 6 copies. We won the 50-50 4 out of 6 times. 534 wishes to get 6 copies of Eula, which is 89 wishes per copy. It's honestly not that bad. The craziest part about this wishing session is actually the weapons, guys. Look at those Song of Broken Pine wishes. Holy shit, guys. We pulled 5 copies. We only had to get 6 5-star pulls. We got first Song of Broken Pines in 65 wishes, second Song of Broken Pines in 67 wishes, third Song of Broken Pines in 68 wishes, fourth Song of Broken Pines in 41 wishes. Then we lost to Freedom Sworn for 69, and then we got the 5th Song of Broken Pines for 69. When I did these wishes, I tell you that I didn't even really understand how crazy that was at the time. Like, I was definitely blown away a little bit, but I don't think I realized exactly how insane the Song of Broken Pine Wishes was. And the best part about this is I needed the copy of the Freedom Sworn too. It's not like I didn't need Freedom Sworn. I wanted Freedom Sworn for my Kazuha. So pulling one Freedom Sworn for both collection purposes and to give my C0 Kazuha his weapon was crazy. Like, it just could not have worked out any more beautifully. Honestly, it just was the absolute pinnacle of pulls. Also in this patch, we did get our Albedo copy, and we also did get Itto to C2, which honestly is kind of crazy when you think about it, that I was pulling this much at the time, because I had just done C6R5 Eula on this patch, and then I also spent, I think it was another 500 wishes. We won the 50-50 twice on Itto and lost it once to Mona on the third copy, and then Red Horn, we lost twice to Skyward Harp and Aquila Favonia. So crazy times, guys, crazy times. I was wishing a lot then, more than I feel like I'm even wishing now to some extent. Really kind of crazy. 2.4 was Shenhe, Zhao, Zhongli, and Ganyu. You can tell I kind of went crazy on Shenhe. Shenhe I went crazy on because she was a Eula support, kind of, at the time. Not a great Eula support, to be honest. She's not like crazy bonkers. Like, honestly, there's better supports for Eula, but I was still in on the cryo game. I wanted to see how good a C6 Eula could do with Shenhe. So I kind of went in on Shenhe, but you can see we pulled for 5 copies of Shenhe, getting her to C4. Pretty decent pulls, nothing super crazy there. The Shenhe and 17 wishes, winning the 50-50 was kind of crazy. So we did get her Calamity Queller as well. We also got Zhao. We got our first copy of Zhao. This was mainly for collection purposes. I didn't even really like Zhao, but we got Zhao and his weapon as well. And then we also got Ganyu. Ganyu we took to C1. She's still at C1 to this day. 2.5 was Yainiko, Kokomi, and Raiden. And guys, when I tell you, remember how I priorly said, oh yeah, we can just get one C6R5 character a year. That's fine. We can just get one C6R5 character a year. That's totally fine. No, completely out the window by this point. It's literally 2 patches later, and we were all in. I think I was just so mesmerized by Raiden. I was like, man, imagine Raiden at C6R5 with Eula C6R5. I was like, instead of having one really powerful hero, we could just have one really powerful team. We're slowly receding into madness at this point, justifying our spending habits. We fully went in on C6R5 Raiden at this point. We only needed 4 copies of Raiden, and we only needed 2 copies of Engulfing Lightning. So it wasn't like it was super crazy. We just needed those. It wasn't, I think I did it in like 800 wishes, I think is my wishing video. The funny thing about this patch, do you guys remember when Kokomi was considered a bad hero? Do you guys remember this era? Just like Kazuha got slandered in 1.6, Kokomi was getting slandered so hard at this point. She still was not considered a very good hero. Now, to be fair, I don't think the Ocean-Hued Clam set was out at this point, so that did kind of raise her power level a bit. But yeah, the community was not having it with Kokomi. Everyone was mad because she had negative 100 crit rate. But man, how far she has come, right? Like, how far she has come. She hasn't really changed that much. But now she's amazing. She's like a top-tier triple S Hydro character. Like, yeah, Dendro did make her a little bit better as well with blooms and stuff, so that's something to consider. But at this time, Kokomi was considered not a great character. So when I tell you, when I pulled 3 donuts, which is the Everlasting Moonglows, on my way to my 2 copies of Engulfing Lightning, I was not happy. I was not happy because everyone was trash talking the donut at this point. I had kind of bought into the hype that it was garbage. Everyone was trash talking. No one was using Kokomi. So here I was. Finally got to my R5 Engulfing Lightning, and we had this R3 donut that I wasn't even going to use at the time. I was so mad. And it was such a niche weapon. So it's like you couldn't use the donut on other heroes at all. Like, it was strictly just a weapon for Kokomi. Now it's a blessing when I look back on it. It's funny how when I go for an R5 weapon and I get the other weapon to like R3 or R2, that ends up like setting the pace for what other future C6R5 characters I'm going to pull for. Because I'm like, man, I've already got this weapon at R3. It'd be so easy to R5 it and then just pull for C6 and we're golden, right? We got 3 copies of the donut and the rest is history. As you guys know already, I have C6R5 Kokomi, so that's definitely was kind of the starting point for me really going like, man, I should really try to just use Kokomi at C6R5. Like fuck it, let's just do it. Oh yeah, 2.5, I also got my Yaimiko copies. We did get her, let me scroll back up. We did get her to C2 here. The pulls are okay. The pulls are decent, nothing super crazy. We also got her Kagura's to R1 at that time. We're just collecting it. We got a couple copies of Yaimiko. So after 2.5, we moved into 2.6, which was Ayato, Venti, and Ayaka's rerun, I believe. This is honestly kind of crazy. This patch for me is when we finally collected one of every hero. Once I got Venti at this point, we had every hero in the game at this point, and we're working our way up to getting one of every weapon. And I think this was when I was really, really starting to scratch that collector itch. I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. Venti, we got our Venti. We got our Ayato to C2. Pulls were really terrible here. My Ayato pulls, you can look at them. We got one Ayato and 40 copies, but we lost the 50-50 first. We did get our Haran in 63 witches, which is great. We did get our Mistsplitter for Ayaka in 70 witches, which was also awesome. And then we also decided to pull a couple more copies of Ayaka. Oh no, we got C3 Ayaka at that point. We got 3 copies of Ayaka. We lost the 50-50 one time there. Next patch. Oh, next patch. Another frickin' doozy here, guys. We were full on madman at this point. This was 2.7. It was Zhao, Yelan, and Itto. Guys, Itto. I don't know what to say. I was in love with Itto. We skipped Zhao completely. We already had Zhao at C0 with his R1 Primordial Jade Spear, so we skipped Zhao completely. We went for C2 Yelan, which she's still at to this day, regrettably, and we got her Aqua Simulacra. We got that in 70 wishes. And then let me tell you, Itto, I believe, was the second half of 2.7, and we were all in on our boy. We had him at this point at C2 R1. This is where we went for C6 R5 on Itto. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just fully off the rails. I mean, to have a third C6R5 character at this point, I remember thinking about his C6 and just being like, man, his C6 looks really fun. Just being able to hold the charge attack during his burst and just like, pow, 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 pow. I just think I was just like all about that life. And like, Itto is such a strong, like, just like, oh, you know, he's so fun and so charismatic. And just like, oh, I think this was my first male C6R5 character. I was like, yeah, we are all aboard the Itto train. Unga bunga, all day, every day. Let's go. So we pulled 4 copies of Itto to C6 him. These pulls went really well. We only lost the 50-50 one time to Mona. And even when we lost the 50-50, it was only 26 wishes for Mona and then 25 wishes for Itto right after. So that was honestly based for the character pulls. The weapon pulls, let me tell you, the weapon pulls were an absolute travesty. First, Redhorn Stone Thresher. We lost twice to Memory of Dust. Second, Redhorn Stone Thresher. We lost to Memory of Dust and Skyward Blade. Third, Redhorn Stone Thresher. We lost again to Memory of Dust twice. Let me tell you, these pulls were absolutely just trash. At least we got our final Redhorn Stone Thresher in 68 wishes. At least there was some saving grace there. But man, when I tell you the amount of Memory of Dusts we were swimming in at that point, I was just mauling. I was mauling so hard. That video is also up on YouTube, by the way, if you care to see it. If you care to look back at my wish history, it was not pretty. The R5 Memory of Dust, honestly, was kind of fun. I did use it on Ningguang, like a C6R5 Ningguang Spiral Abyss a couple times. It was actually really, really fun. So, I mean, there's that. We have a C6R5 Ningguang with Memory of Dust, which is kind of, I mean, it's something. It's kind of cool. It's like we made lemonade out of lemons, I guess, in that moment. But yeah, that banner literally paid us dust. It literally paid us dust with 5 Memory of Dust copies. We're kind of wrapping up the 2.0 of the Inazuma chapter, but we have one more patch. We have 2.8, which was a Klee rerun, a Kazuha rerun, and a Yoimiya rerun. When I tell you this was a weird patch for me, I ain't lying. I didn't decide to C6 Kazuha before pulling for him. I was just like, I was doing streams at this time. I was like, I have 300, 500 wishes. I don't remember the exact amount. We're just going to pull for Kazuha until we run out of wishes. That was the game plan. When I tell you these Kazuha pulls were so goddamn amazing, we just couldn't stop. We couldn't stop. The first Kazuha, we got in 78 pulls, nothing great. The second Kazuha, we lost the 50-50, but we got him in 46 wishes after losing to Diluc in 78 wishes. After that, it was freaking non-stop. Kazuha in 46 wishes won the 50-50. Kazuha again in 22 wishes won the 50-50. Then we got Mona in 23 wishes. It was a 50-50 loss, but sure, at least it was 23 wishes. Then we got Kazuha again in 40 wishes. Then we got Kazuha again in 15 wishes. At this point, we were at C5 Kazuha. I could not stop. I couldn't stop. And so I spent more to keep going. And of course, the minute I spend, we lose to Diluc in 75 wishes, and then finally get our C6 Kazuha in 77 wishes. This C6 Kazuha was not intentional. When I went for Eula, when I went for Raiden, when I went for Itto, those were all intentional C6 characters. This Kazuha was not intentional. The pulls were just so goddamn good, I could literally not stop. When I got to C5, I was like, I can't stop at C5. I have to keep going. And we got to C6 Kazuha, which was really, really exciting. We didn't go for R5 Freedom Sworn. It just wasn't in the cards. I did not want to spend more. I didn't even plan to get C6 Kazuha, so I was like, I'm not going to get the R5 Freedom Sworn. Yoimiya was also in this patch. We got Yoimiya to C2, I believe? C3. We got Yoimiya to C3. We already had one copy. For some reason, we pulled on Thundering Pulse. I don't quite remember why we did this. I think it was because we wanted Summit Shaper. This is kind of cringe, guys. I didn't have a Summit Shaper copy at that point, so I was just pulling for Summit Shaper. The banner was Thundering Pulse and Summit Shaper. I remember what happened. I wanted Summit Shaper, but I did not set my epitomized path to Summit Shaper. This is absolutely unhinged. Looking back on this, this is absolutely unhinged. So what I was doing, I set my epitomized path to Thundering Pulse, and I was like, I'm just going to pull until I lose and get Summit Shaper, which is, looking back, absolutely unhinged. So what ended up happening was I got my first copy of Thundering Pulse first. That resets the epitomized path. Then I got Wolf's Gravestone. Then I got lucky enough to get Summit Shaper. Thank God I got lucky enough to get Summit Shaper. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm already on the path to get another Thundering Pulse. So what I ended up doing was I pulled for Thundering Pulse to get it, because it's like, wait, I've already got Wolf's Gravestone and Summit Shaper. The path is at 2 of 2. Like, let's just do it and get Thundering Pulse. So that's what I ended up doing. I got the Thundering Pulse in 66 wishes. Looking back on that, absolutely unhinged. I should not have done that. Just pull for the weapon that you want, right? Because what if I didn't get the Summit Shaper? I would have kept pulling. Luckily, I was lucky enough to get the Summit Shaper fairly early, and that's the story of why that looks like the way it is. Now we're moving on to 3.0. 3.0. We had Tighnari on the main banner. Now, I wanted one of every character. At this point, I knew Tighnari was going to eventually become a standard banner character, but I wanted my one copy anyways, just to solidify my collection. So we did wish for Tighnari, and we did wish for Hunter's Path. We got really lucky on Hunter's Path. We got it at 31 wishes. We didn't lose any weapon pulls, which was great. Because we got so lucky on Tighnari, we kept pulling on that banner. We pulled for Zhongli some more. We got our Zhongli to, I believe, at this time, it was C4. Decent pulls there, nothing crazy good. We got one Zhongli in 20 wishes, the first one. That was crazy good. We got another Zhongli in 23 after losing the pity to Keqing in 71 wishes. The other half of 3.0 was Ganyu and Kokomi. Guys, again, we completely skipped on Ganyu at this point. We did not pull on Ganyu. We had Ganyu at C1. We were happy with Ganyu at C1. We went full on bonkers for Kokomi. We already had the R3 donut, so it just made sense, right? Wait, the donut was R4, guys. The donut wasn't R3, it was R4. That's right. We got our first donut way on Kokomi's first banner, and then we got it to R4 on the second banner with Raiden. So it was actually R4 at this point, not R3. So all we needed to do, because we had Kokomi at C0R4, we just needed 1 copy of her donut, and we needed 6 copies of her constellation. So that's what we did. Now, the sad thing with the donut is to get the 1 copy of the donut, we did lose twice to Amos-Bow, which I guess is kind of okay. I mean, Amos-Bow is a standard banner weapon. It's not that great of a standard banner weapon. It's kind of mid, you know, it's not that great. But we got 2 copies of it, fine. Our Ganyu's going to be doing a little bit better. It's not even Ganyu's best in slot anymore with Polar Star, but like, fine. We got 2 copies of Amos-Bow, whatever. But getting to that last copy of the donut, the Everlasting Moonglow for Kokomi, was a pretty brutal. It looks like we spent like 200 wishes just to get that last copy. The Kokomi pulls went pretty decent. This was the first time at this point that I had ever gotten 2 5-star characters in one 10 pull. We got one of our Kokomi copies in literally 2 wishes, not even losing the 50-50, right? We lost 4 out of 6 50-50, so that's not great, but we kind of made it up by getting the double 5-star pull on Kokomi back to back, so that genuinely made up for it. 3.1, we had Cyno, Venti, Albedo, and Nilou. Albedo and Venti, complete skips. Didn't care about them at all. We already had them as C0R1. We just did C1 Cyno. Nothing super crazy. And Nilou, we just did C0R1. So nothing really crazy in this period. This was like our resting point. You know, we only got a couple copies of Cyno. We got 1 copy of Nilou. We got the 1 staff for Cyno, which honestly was pretty crazy good. You can see we got it in 5 wishes after losing to Skyward Harp. And then we got 1 copy of the key, and we completely chilled out at 3.1. Really nothing more to say about 3.1. We basically just kind of did the minimum, collected the new characters, collected their new weapons, and we kind of really just, honestly, just bounced out of there. 3.2, Nahida came out. Nahida wishes went really well. You can see we did do a lot of pulls for her. We didn't do her weapon. We only got 1 copy of the weapon, which you can see we got for 68 wishes after losing to Lost Prayer and Thundering Pulse again. Thundering Pulse we had at R4 at this point, so this was actually kind of a boon. We were getting really close at this point to R5ing Thundering Pulse just by pulling it accidentally on other banners. And then Nahida, we got to C4. These wishes are actually kind of crazy. We got 5 copies of Nahida. We won the 50-50, it looks like 3 out of 5 times. One of the Nahida pulls, we lost to Tighnari, which was great because Tighnari, we didn't have at C6 at that point. We also got another double 5-star pull with Tighnari and Nahida in 1 10 pull. We got both of them. You can see the Nahida, it only took 2 pulls to get her, which was absolutely freaking bonkers. If I didn't get that C4 Nahida pull in that pull, I wasn't going for more. I was done. So getting that C4 Nahida like that was, at the time, really, really crazy. Not that her C4 is super insane or anything. Her C2 is definitely her better constellation. I think the C4 is definitely one of the weaker ones, but still, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? It was great. It was great. Oh God, I can already see the Alhaitham pulls coming, and it's giving me anxiety. Oh, we're not to Alhaitham yet, but I can see the weapon banner pulls, and it's already giving me major anxiety. The pulls are so bad. You guys can already see them. They're coming. They're coming. The pulls are so terrible, but it's giving me anxiety. 3.2 was also Yainiko and Child. Child again. Jesus Christ, Child. How many banners are you gonna get? We didn't pull for anything for Child. No Polar Star. No Child constellations. We were all in on Yainiko. I think at this point I was just like, I'm gonna spend 500 wishes on Yainiko. We only lost the 50-50 one time, which is great. The pity counters are really high on our Yainiko pulls. That wraps up 3.2. Let's go to 3.3. This was when Wanderer came out. Wanderer and Itto. Also 3.3 was Ayato and Raiden. Now, we already had Raiden and Itto at C6R5 at this point, so that was really nice. We didn't have to really worry about the 2 of them. They were completely done at this point. Wanderer, we didn't really vibe with Wanderer. We still don't really vibe with Wanderer that much, unfortunately, so we pulled C1 Wanderer, which he still is at to this day. We lost the 50-50 twice. would have been nice to not lose the 50-50. I could have more Constellations of Wander, but it did not work out that way for me. Pity counter on those pulls were all in the 70s, so that was not a very good wishing session. We did, however, get the bell in 40 wishes, which was great. We got the bell in 40 wishes right off the bat, so that was honestly super great. We didn't pull for Ayato anymore. We already had Ayato at C6R5. We skipped Ayato completely. We did not wish. The reason this banner we did not wish a lot is because we knew Alhaitham was coming, and we were saving for Alhaitham big time. When I tell you my hype level at this point for Alhaitham was peak level excitement. I was so ready for Alhaitham. This was the first time ever that I pulled a character to C6R5 on their release. If you've noticed up until this point, I've never actually pulled a character on their release at C6R5. I always kind of like dipped a toe in on their first banner and then went all in on their second or third banner. I never really spent this much money at once on one character. And when I tell you, I mean, this was like literally $2,000, guys, that I spent on Alhaitham. More than $2,000. I think it was like $2,400 on Alhaitham after everything was said and done. So I don't think I realized at the time. I hadn't done the math. I hadn't really figured it out. I was like, oh, 1,000 wishes. That's going to be fine. We'll do fine. We'll do fine. It was not fine. We lost every single 50-50 on Alhaitham except one. And not only did we lose all of the 50-50s, the pities were abysmal. We lost the 50-50 6 out of 7 times. Every single pity for every single pull, even the 50-50 losses, was above 70, except for 3. Guys, the amount of frustration, the level of excitement that I had starting that stream when I pulled for C6 Alhaitham dipped so fast. I just became so internally frustrated and angry. My Alhaitham pulls, it took me 889 wishes to get C6 Alhaitham. This is including the weapon. This is just on the hero pulls. And we didn't even get Tainori as one of our 50-50 losses. We didn't even get Tainori. We lost the 50-50 6 out of 7 times, and we didn't even get Tainori. That was even more frustrating. I'm like, man, couldn't I even get one more copy of Tainori out of all those 50-50 losses? No, not even that. And then, to top it all off, we went to the weapon banner. When I tell you, the worst weapon banner pulls I've ever freaking had. It was already bad enough that the Foliar Incision was next to Zhao's weapon, Primordial Jadewing Spear, which was a terrible loss because I really did not want copies of that weapon. The amount of times we pulled the Primordial Jadewing Spear, you can see it there, 4 times. Oh my God, it was so goddamn maddening. The first Foliar, we actually won, and we got it in 64 pulls. I was like, thank you, finally, an end. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you, finally. Then we lost to the Primordial Spear twice to get to our next Foliar Incision, and then again we lost to the Primordial Spear twice to get to the next Incision. At this point, I was fuming. We were supposed to have such a beautiful day pulling for C6 R5 Alhaitham from scratch, and it was the most miserable pulling experience I've ever had to this day. Luckily, we do make up for it later on down the road, as you will soon come to find out. But at this time, I was fuming. The next Foliar, we lost to Akia Favonia to get to the 4th Foliar, and then we finally got the 5th Foliar without losing to anything at 67 wishes. So it did kind of pick up there towards the end, thank God, because I was so mad. Luckily, we made it. This C6R5 is still my worst C6R5 pull. When you add up all the wishes that it took me to get to the C6R5, this is still my worst to this day, which was frustrating because this was the character I was the most hyped for out of any character in all of my Genshin Impact history. So to not get him quickly like that was really tragic. Yelan and Hu Tao were also in 3.4. We did not pull on their banners for characters. We completely skipped their character banners. This Staff of Homa Aqua Simulacra weapon banner pull, I did not plan this. This was the redemption arc for the weapon banner that I sorely needed after the Foliar weapon pulls. We needed this redemption. I did not plan this Staff of Homa Simulacra pull. It was completely out of thin air. I was at the end of a stream one day. I was like, fuck it. This weapon banner's really good. It's got Homa and Aqua Simulacra on it. Why not just let's just pull for a couple of them. Like, you can't lose. You're either going to get Homa or you're going to get Simulacra. Like, these are both really great weapons on two really powerful characters. It was just like, it's like, how can you skip on this banner? I was planning to skip it at first. I genuinely was planning to skip it at first. But then I started pulling and it just blew up. Our first Homa came at 63, which was not that great, but we won. You know, we didn't lose. If anyone doesn't know, when you're pulling on a weapon banner, you have a 66.6% chance to get one of the two featured weapons, and you have a 33.3% chance to get a failure and not get one of the featured weapons. So we won the 67% chance. We got a Staff of Homa. Awesome. We kept pulling. We got Simulacra in 37 wishes. We're like, damn, we're on a roll. Let's keep going. We got Homa in 68 pulls. All right. Not a great pity, but it's okay. We kept winning the 67%. Simulacra in 24 pulls. Homa in 19 pulls. Homa in 36 pulls. We were fucking on fire. Like, we were winning the 67% chance over and over. And the pities were amazing. 24, 19, 36. It was absolutely insane. We go again, reminding you that this was completely unplanned. I did not plan for this. I'm pretty sure at this point I was like, okay, I'm spending a little bit more money. We cannot skip on this banner. Homa, 67. We won again. Then we finally lost. At this point, I had R5 Homa, and I really wanted to get the R5 Aqua Simulacra. I really wanted to get it. So I remember I reset my pity, or my epitomized path. I took it off of Homa and I put it on Simulacra. At this point, we kept on trucking. We got Simulacra in 66 pulls. At this point, it was R4. We had made it to R4. I was like, I have to keep going. I have to get the R5 Simulacra. We are so close. How can I stop now? I've got R5 Staff of Homa. We are so close to R5 Aqua Simulacra. Let's just keep pulling and see what the Hoyo gods have in store for us. Lo and behold, first 5-star pull. It came late. It was a 65 wishes. We got it. We got the Simulacra. It was a beautiful moment. I just remember I was fucking beaming all day. I had to go to work after the stream, and I remember I was just beaming so hard. Maybe it is different. Maybe it's not 33. Is it 37? That's what someone in chat is saying. It's 37, 25. That could be true. That actually could be true. I think that's actually more accurate. It's 37.5, 25 to lose. 25% chance to not get one of the featured weapons. That's actually correct. But the last R5 Simulacra, we only had 37.5% chance to get it, and we nailed it first try. It was an amazing, absolutely amazing moment. I was super excited. Why we didn't go for C6 Yelan at that point is an absolute mystery. I don't think I really realized how good C6 Yelan was at this point. Like, nobody had really told me. I didn't hear about it. I didn't go for it. So now I'm still sitting at a C2 R5 Yelan, which is absolutely kind of cringe when you think about it. Why do I not have a C6 R5 Yelan at this point? She's like the best character in the game. All right, let's move on from that. We redeemed our Alhaitham weapon banner pulls with the Staff of Homa Aqua Simulacra pulls, which was really, truly fantastic. We've got 4 patches left. 3.5. 3.5 was Sino rerun. Dia was featured as a character. And then we had Ayaka and Shenhe. Sino, I did not pull for any more Sino, so we can skip past him. We did not go for Sino at all. Dia, again, we just wanted to get our 1 copy of Dia and our 1 copy of the Beacon. Dia, to this day, still gets shat on a lot, which is unfortunate. It's really sad that her character still to this day is just trashed here, but like, the meta slave that I am, I'm not going to pull for a ton of Dia, obviously. I knew she was featured in as a 50-50 loss after this patch, so it's like, why pull for Dia? I don't know. I'm not going to pull for Dia. There was the thought of pulling for R5 Beacon because When are we going to see Beacon again? Who knows? Are they ever going to put Beacon or Hunter's Path in the weapon banner ever again? It's like, Hoyo, come on. You got to put these weapons back in the banner at some point, right? I did not do it. I was like, no. Dia's not that great. Why would we pull for R5? The second half of this patch was, we got to scroll up. Was Ayaka and Shenhe. At this point, we already had C3 Ayaka, we had C4 Shenhe. It just felt right to C6 them both. Again, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm a huge cryo. I think cryo is my favorite element still to this day. It just felt right. Ayaka, Shenhe on the same banner. Let's go for it. We C6 both. I only needed 2 copies of Shenhe. I only needed 3 copies of Ayaka. We went for it. We had a good time. The wishes weren't that great. We lost the 50-50 on a couple of the pulls out of 5. The pities aren't like super fantastic or anything. Nothing spectacular. It was nice that Ayaka came home in 33 wishes one time and then in 80 without a 50-50 loss. That was great. We did pull for a miss splitter randomly. I think that was on stream. I was just having fun. I was like, fuck it. Let's just pull for miss splitter. Whatever. Let's just do it for fun. That was just shits and giggles. I was just having a good time on stream. 3.6, Nilou, Nahida, Baizhu, Ganyu. Ganyu and Nilou are easy. We didn't really pull for them intentionally. We got 1 key for Nilou while trying to get our C6R5 Nahida, which is still one of our better built heroes to this day. Super powerhouse C6R5 Nahida. Our main focus this patch was Nahida. We already had C4 Nahida from her first banner. We already had 1 copy of Floating Dreams. I was like, you know what? Nahida's like the most meta character in the game right now. Honestly, probably the strongest hero in the game up to this point. Is anybody stronger than Nahida at this point? Not many. Nahida is frickin' bonkers, so we went for it. We got our 2 copies of Nahida. We lost the 50-50 both times. Nothing spectacular there. When I tell you the weapon banner went off for my 1,000 Floating Dreams, it went fucking off. It went off. We got so many copies of Floating Dreams in a row. Look at these pulls. The Amos bow, I think, was a loss on this banner. Yeah, the Amos bow we did lose first, but then we got Floating Dreams in 61. Another copy of Floating Dreams in 4 wishes. Holy shit. Then 32 wishes for the key, which was a loss. Then we got Floating Dreams in 66 and then 63. It was a great wishing stream. The lamps were coming in full force. We were really, really making up for the terrible Alhaitham pulls at this point. With the Staff of Homa and the Aqua Simulacra pulls, we did really great. 1,000 Floating Dreams was coming in hot. I didn't want to R5 the key. So, I was really, really happy that we weren't R5ing the key too while trying to get our Floating Dreams pulls. Baizhu was in this patch as well. So Baizhu was interesting. At this point, we were doing the whole, let's wish 300 wishes on the newest 4-star character. We're doing those giveaways at that point. So Baizhu had Kaveh on the banner, so we knew we wanted C6 Kaveh because Kaveh is our absolute dreamboat. We fucking live for Kaveh. So we knew we wanted C6 Kaveh, absolutely. So we basically just kept wishing until we got C6 Kaveh. That afforded us 3 copies of Baizhu to get him to C2, and of course, we also pulled his weapon, Jadefall Splendor. We got it pretty quickly. We lost to Amos Bow, it looks like, and then we got it in 36 wishes. So luckily, Baiju's weapon came fairly quickly in only 100 wishes, which is good. Now, the home stretch, 3.7. I think that's it. 3.7. Yeah, we haven't pulled in 3.8 at all. We're completely skipping 3.8. Yaimiko. Yaimiko was... Did I miss my Yaimiko pulls? I did miss my Yaimiko pulls. We see 6 Yaimiko up here. I completely forgot about it. The first Nahida patch, I think we also see 6 Yaimiko. I completely forgot it. Did I mention that? I don't remember if I mentioned that. I don't think I did. The wishes went pretty good because we weren't losing 50-50s, but the pities were all kind of high. Maybe I did mention that and I completely forgot. But at this point, we had C6 Yaimiko, we had C3 Yoimiya, we had R1 Kaguras, and we had R4 Thundering Pulse. So we were like, bro, we've got to get C6R5 Yaimiko, and we've got to get C6R5 Kagura. So we wished for 3 copies of Yoimiya. That went really well. We never lost the 50-50 there. You can see the pulls at the bottom there. And then the weapon banner pulls, again, were absolutely insane. We only wanted 1 copy of Thundering Pulse, and we needed 4 copies of Kagura's. And to get to the 4 copies of Kagura's, we only failed and lost to Thundering Pulse twice, which was great one time because we needed the R5 Thundering Pulse. But my God, these pulls were so good. We never lost the 25% on the weapon banner. All 6 weapon pulls. This was absolutely insane. Kagura's in 8. Kagura's again in 70. Kagura's again in 71. Thundering pulls back to back in 3 wishes, then 5 wishes. This was insane. Absolutely insane. And then, of course, we had to get the last copy of Kagura's, which by that point was on Epitomized Path. We got it to 70. Dude, insane. Imagine pulling 6 weapons, all of them being featured weapons, and 3 of them coming in under 10 wishes. That's absolutely bonkers, crazy, insane. Last half of 3.7, we had C6 Kazuha at this point, so we're like, yeah, of course we're going to get his R5 weapon. Again, these pulls were insane. We got 4 Freedom Sworns out of 5 5-star weapons. This is crazy. How are we winning the weapon banner pulls so damn well? I don't even understand it. Honestly, I think at this point my account is rigged. I think Hoyo has like looked at how many wishes I've done and they're just like, fuck it, just give him all the weapons that he wants, because like it doesn't even matter at this point. He's gonna spend a boatload of money. Just give him his Freedom Sworns and let's call it a day. But that's basically what happened. We only lost to Primordial Jade Spear 1 time. And we got Freedom Sworn 4 out of 5 times, which is exactly what we needed. We didn't need anything else. What was the other weapon with Freedom Sworn? I forget. It was, Foliar was on with Freedom Sworn. I didn't need any copies of Foliar at that point. I already had Foliar at R5 with my C6 Alhaitham. So I did not need Foliar copies at all. And we completely dodged Foliar 100%. It was just insane how well that worked out. The fact that we completely dodged Foliar is freaking just crazy. I would have rather have gotten Skyward Atlas instead of Primordial Jade Spear, but I feel like that's asking for way too much at this point. I mean, the pulls were already absolutely insane. That's it, guys. That's it. Oh my God, I've been rambling for like 2 hours now. Jesus Christ. How are you guys still watching this? I don't even know. How are you guys watching this still at this point? I absolutely kudos to you guys for watching this much at this point. I don't know what is wrong with you guys. For 2 straight hours, we've basically just been egotistical asshole of all time, just showing up our wishes. But I think you guys find this stuff interesting, right? You guys hopefully find this stuff interesting. I mean, you're obviously, a lot of you are still here watching, so I mean, hopefully that kind of gives you some insight on where my account is at, where it's coming from. You know, this is something different. It's something just me not just playing the game and doing different things. It's like, it's fun to look back and see like all the crazy things that have been going on. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this kind of thing. If you're watching this from YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Obviously, really appreciate you being a part of the community.